All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to an overview of the GreenStar Homes Certification Program at the basic level. This course is brought to you by the GreenHome Institute. GreenHome Institute is a nonprofit with a mission to empower people to make healthier and more sustainable choices in the renovation and construction of the places we live. Today, I will be your speaker. My name is Brett Little, and I'm the program manager here. This course is approved for multiple different continuing education units, as well as all 5 pillars of green in our Certified Green Home Professional designation and AIA, health, welfare, and safety, which may make it applicable to your state-based design or contractor license. Before we get started, I just wanted to let everybody know that for the sake of GreenStar, currently as it stands, this is a member-driven program. And so it's basically free for small multifamily and single family to certify to the program as far as the certification fees go. Multifamily is significantly reduced compared to other programs, especially for our members. And then $500 for members for the preliminary plan review, which gets the project an official registration, though registration is not required in our program, unlike other green building programs. So this is just optional if you want that full plan review. So check out our membership. You're going to get one of these mugs. We have a couple left here that we're going to send you here, made right in the USA with corn byproducts. And you get instant access to all of our webinars, discounts on paid trainings, and more. So you should check that out. And then also before we start, this is a great opportunity for us to thank our nearly over 200 members now who have been providing support to the work we're doing here, have been using our GreenStar program, helping us make the GreenStar program better. And, just really, we couldn't do it without them. And a huge thanks to all of our top tier sponsors, Mitsubishi Electric, Rheem for air source heat pumps, April Air for ventilation, humidification, air filtration, dehumidification, humidification strategies, Panasonic, Ava Windows, Rockwall, air heated geo slabs for the Great Lakes Passive House Supplies, and then Niagara Conservation. To get to GreenStar, you need to have more sustainable products. And so these different products here, these different folks that we work with, they're not just sponsors because they pay us, they're sponsors because they actually help people easily achieve things like GreenStar certification, green building standards, decarbonization, electrification, net zero energy, you name it. That's why we work with them. We don't just work with them, to help support our program, but they actually solve problems. And so check them out. All of them out. We have a product page listing for that, and we have a connection with them within our GreenStar program as far as certain things that can help you achieve the goals. All right. So again, welcome to the GreenStar Homes certified level. If you don't know me, Brett Little, program manager here, GreenHome Institute, and I help oversee and administer the GreenStar certification program. I've certified 2 personal homes before, both existing, one nearly 100 years old, and my most recent home. So for me, I didn't want to promote and educate people on a program like this unless, I was willing to put my money where my mouth is and actually go through the process. As well as I've helped many others achieve this certification, and I help do the quality assurance on the GreenStar certification program through each of the certifications that come through our office. Currently, I'm verifying every piece of documentation to ensure that it's in compliance with the standard. So that's a little bit about me. The other thing, and you'll hear us say this often, especially on our courses, is that we don't have time to go through all the technical details of every single requirement in GreenStar. And so that's why we've made the basics of residential green building and remodeling course. Every single item covered in that is in GreenStar and other green building programs, and some aren't even in green building programs. They're just good ideas. And there are things we've missed. And so that's why we'll update this again in 2022, 2023. Green building science keeps evolving. But we think we've done a good job and we think we've guided ahead. So you can check out the basics of residential green to get some more technical knowledge. And then from there, if there's something specific, we point to more details, more trainings will help you find more details and more trainings on how to do that. And I just wanted to say, we're celebrating over 100 certified GreenStar projects throughout the United States, mostly in the Midwest, which is where our roots are. So we're super excited to be, just making that announcement here. Projects all over, different types of projects. And so help celebrate that with us. And, let's get to 200 by the end of this year. We need your help to get there. So what kind of buildings does GreenStar apply to? Well, we have millions of existing housing units, single family especially, and multifamily, that what we say are hemorrhaging money out of the local economy, that are wasting energy, putting off carbon emissions, that are making people unhealthy and sick, that are wasting water, and that are falling apart. We need a significant investment in our infrastructure, in our homes and our buildings to repair them. And that is the goal of GreenStar, is to put together a sustainability pathway from good, better, best, the best, and to net zero energy for our existing housing stock, single family and multifamily. That's why we're here. That's what we want to transform all these homes. We find that most of the residential green building programs leave out the existing housing, especially single family, from their programs. And so that's why we've put together and expanded the GreenStar program. And it's not easy going after existing housing. It's very difficult. It's much easier just to build something new. But as you know, costs are skyrocketing and it's getting harder and harder. Land is running out to build new things in certain areas. And so we do need to repair our existing housing stock. And I hope you'll join us using GreenStar, whether you certify or just use it as a resource. We want to work with you to do it. Also, we can do new construction. And so, we have members using it for new construction where other programs don't make sense or are too costly. So it is available, and there are some exceptions, for mid-rise. And we've got some mixed-use multifamily underway now too. And we've got certified multifamily projects as well that are new or existing. So it can apply to all these, but there's some different caveats that you'll need to be aware of if you're trying to apply it to those other programs or building typologies. So the way GreenStar works is it's a good, better, best, the best program with badges to identify certain areas or detours you want to go down. And so today, for this session, we're just talking about meeting certified. And basically what we tell people is, get through the certified level, see if you can get through it without a problem. If you can't, why bother wasting your time chasing silver, gold, or platinum items if you can't even make it to certified, right? These are just, the certified is just the basic things that we'd like to see all homes meet that can just get you moving forward towards sustainability, towards health, energy efficiency. If you can do that, then maybe the next year you can come back and work on some of the silver items and get a budget together the following, and get funds together and then work on gold and then platinum. It's an iterative program. It's just like with home construction. We're always working on our homes. We're never satisfied, right? We're always improving them. And the same goes for GreenStar. We're always aiming for a higher level. It's going to take time. It's going to take money, planning, best approach. And that's okay. You don't have to just get platinum right away. That can be difficult. We hope you do, but let's just see if we can get through the certified level first. And then, like I said, there's some additional badges like for net zero or all electric living or all those other things. And so just today, we're going to just try to help you get through the certified level. And then we're going to do another session coming up, I think, to talk about silver and then gold and then platinum and go from there. And it's important to know that in most cases, if we're saying a home is certified, we're talking about the same set of items across all homes, across everywhere. Unlike other green programs, you might be talking about different types of features. And that's the other thing, is we've gotten rid of the scoring, the point chasing game that other green building programs take you down. In our case, we're not chasing points. What we're doing instead is saying there's a subset of things you need to do that make a home certified silver or gold or platinum. And there's additional badges if things are important to you, like net zero water or low embodied energy or whatever it might be. Those are other detours you might take, but you're not just trying to chase down points like bike racks or whatever it might be that other green building programs might have you do. Incentives, there's not many yet, but they are building. They are coming out. We've got the city of St. Paul, Minnesota has a sustainable building policy where they shell out resources and funds to build more sustainable housing. And so GreenStar, we've got some GreenStar projects underway there in St. Paul because of an incentive. It's a real incentive. So it's there. How do we get it in your city? Let's talk about it. We've got, through the Wege Foundation, they dole out funds for green building, and they've accepted GreenStar along with LEED. And so we have our West Michigan Green Affordable Housing, where quite honestly, GreenStar is flourishing in West Michigan and Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, those regions, because there's funding to help alleviate the cost of certification through these grants. So these are just examples of, that it is starting to grow. There are resources there to encourage it, and we, hope to see it grow, in your community and in your area as well. So we're going to break these down, but this list here are just some basic things that we want to see you do with your project, with your home. Maybe you want to do this on your home. That's a great place to start. These are just the basic expectations we have if we're going to certify a project to the basic level. So, at the top, we just want you to determine flood and climate risks, right? Just know about them, just communicate them. Fire, heat, weather, especially flood, just be aware of it. And that'll help you think through how to resist it, right? Home energy score of 5. So we're just looking for the house to just have a basic energy efficiency rating and just be basic, just be better than bad, but not be great, right? Let's just start there and get all homes up to a score of 5 or equivalent. Let's make sure the home doesn't have moisture and water leaks. That should be a bare minimum, right? A home inspector comes through and they detect these issues, get them fixed. We can't certify a home where we have knowing water or moisture entry problems. Gutters, that's a part of that. Get the gutters on there. Having functioning bath fans, right? That's important. Low flow devices, just a bare minimum of low flow devices, not the lowest, but we need to think about our water. Water bills are going up. Having a range hood that works so we're not polluting our house when we're cooking. So many homes don't have that. Let's fix that. Let's deal with health hazards like lead and asbestos and knob and tube wiring. That's a bare minimum that we want to see dealt with. And again, you notice some of these things I'm talking about, they're all not issues on new construction. So you don't even have to worry about those. No gas or water leaks. I can't tell you how many gas leaks we're finding on new equipment, brand new construction built homes. Get rid of the gas leak. Mervate filtration, so we have healthy air quality, or the least amount of healthy air quality we can have. Let's check out radon. Is it a problem? Even the EPA zones aren't always perfect, so let's just make sure that there's not a radon issue. And let's have steel braided hoses on our washers so they don't leak. So those are some of the basic things that we're asking you to do, and we're going to dive into those as we move forward here. All right, so at this point, we are going to go into the resources, and this is kind of where the slides end, and we're going to actually open those resources up. And so the first resource, I think that's the most important one that you probably really can't ignore, is the is the manual. And I'm posting this in here right now, and there's a link to it as well. So you want to pull that up as we go through it. We're going to walk through how to use it. And this manual in its current form, when we go to update our website, may change and hopefully will become even more intuitive or more user-friendly. So give us feedback on what you see. All this stuff is open to change, so it makes sense to you and your clients. We don't care. You're not hurting our feelings. We just want it to be useful and helpful, and communicate what you need, what I just talked about a second ago, communicate it on what needs to be done. So feel free to tell me what's wrong, or if there's an issue, I'll fix it. So this is one thing you probably are going to need to always reference, and keep this page bookmarked because you can go back to it. And as we build out the gold, it's got it built out through silver, but as we build out gold, platinum, and the badges, that will all be added here in the future as we do the additional webinars. Second to that is a inspection checklist, and I'm posting the link to that. This is a form on our site. You can use this checklist to evaluate existing homes or even new homes and fill out information. And in many cases, people just use this to certify. They have a third-party GreenHome Inspector go through their house, verify all these items, tell them what needs to be fixed, and then fix it. And so go have that up, pulled up. You can use that to certify as well. And then also, lastly, we have currently a Google Doc for our checklist. So if you can't use Google, it's going to be very difficult to use this. But if you can use Google, then this is a great resource for you to do that. And again, like I said, I hope that we build this out in a WordPress website so that it's more user-friendly. Just haven't gotten there yet, but we're working on it. If you have other ideas, let us know too. But we'll jump into all that. So those are the three main resources we're going to be going through on a screen share. We're going to shift away in this next part, and we're going to cover those and how to utilize those tools. All right, so hopefully you can all see the manual here. So again, this is the manual. Bookmark this. It's on our website. And a couple of things, you've got some different ways you can sort through the manual, and we're building those out as well. So if you're looking for things that are only GreenStar certified, because you're not quite sure about the silver level yet, you can click certified. If you're looking for things that are focused on energy conservation, you can click energy. If you're looking for things that your HVAC contractor needs to do, you can click HVAC. And again, we're building these out. What does your plumber need to do? You name it. So we're building out some of these different things. We, look for your ideas on those as well, and tell us what to do. And then here we've got a drop down on just the overview. What projects are eligible to certify? We can even do light commercial offices, which we're looking into right now in a couple of projects, because they in some ways operate like homes. What is the process? And so we're updating this one. We need to get rid of it, but there's no points. So that's going to be removed there too. Some different ways to certify the house that include an on-site third-party assessor, or having a certified GreenHome associate go through the project and submit documentation directly to us when there's lack of a third-party assessor. And then here is how to read each credit as you pull it open. Each one of these ones here below. And by credit, I don't mean points. I guess I should mean each requirement. And so you'll have, what level it is, whether it's applicable to certified, silver, gold, platinum. What is the thing that it is asking you to do? What are some specifics? So we tried to do our best of making it as clear as we could as sort of the headline, but then you dig into it and there's more details, of course. And then many times there's alternative approaches. And a lot of times I've worked with many of you and I've worked with many of our members to come up with new alternative approaches when you run into an issue. Let's work together on that. What's a better way to meet this that makes sense? We don't always accept those, but we know there are other ways to achieve these goals. What resources and studies are available? Sometimes we link out to other trainings we've done, or other trainings people we worked with have done, or other references online. We have many that we're missing. So if you see somewhere missing, send them our way. But we're building that out. What products can help? So we have lots of products in there that can actually help you achieve these goals and just make it easy so you don't have to think too hard. How do we verify each item? What are the things we're looking for? Is it photos, receipts, reports, energy verification notes? What kind of documentation is it that we're looking for? And then ultimately, what kind of badge is associated with each one of these? So this is where, when I say badge, you might just be saying, well, look, I'm just going to get certified, but I'd also like to have the electrified living badge. Like, I'm going all electric. So, that's easy enough. But there are some additional items in here about going all electric that you might want to achieve. So we'll have the badge items built out here that you need to do. That might be some additional items listed in here. Obviously, the all electric one, that's pretty straightforward, but there are some caveats to it too. So we're building those badges out. This will have anything that's related to a badge, and then we'll have the specific badges as well that you'll be able to look into as you're going into these. So that's basically how you're going to use this, and we're going to toggle back to this here in a second. But I just wanted to show you this manual here as well. And then next we have our inspection checklist. So here's what I was talking about. This is currently a Gravity form powered on our website, and we're looking at some alternative ways to do this better. It's free to use. This is totally open source. You can run this. You can use it now. You can work with an assessor now. You can use it as an evaluation tool when you walk into a home. It's all free and open source for you to use, just like this manual as well. There's no fees. There's no hidden. That's the other thing I wanted to mention about the manual is there's no hidden information like other green building programs that you won't find unless you pay us, right? It's all here. And so that's the other thing you should know. But anyway, so this form right here is a great tool to do test in for existing housing or multifamily units. And then, of course, test out when the work is done to go verify that it's done. And it's important to know that this is not a mandatory GreenStar form. You and your assessor or your home inspector may have something better that you like. As long as it captures the information we need, I don't care what you use. You could use a napkin for all I care and write it down on the napkin and just take a photo of it. We just build these so you have something, and then it has the information we need, and it's all there, and there's no guesswork. But it's totally up to you to use whatever you like and your assessor likes. So this is all open source. It's got opportunity to input home energy score information. It's got lead inspection notes, asbestos notes, knob and tube notes, moisture meter reading notes. And, we're building this out too. So if you see an issue with it, let us know what's missing, what could be communicated better. We're happy. This is like the 50th version of this, and we update it, regularly to make sense to get what you need for your inspections. But this is here for you and your auditors to do an evaluation and to produce information. And then it sends an email to me, sends an email to you. And what I like too is that if, I can take a look at this real quick and I can see the information that's missing. And then I just send a nice little list back to you and say, look, there's these 5 things that are missing. If you fix these 5 things, you can be GreenStar certified. It's a great resource for basic certification. We haven't quite built it out yet to get to the silver, gold, or platinum levels. It captures all the information for them, but it's just, it's really designed mostly for basic certification, which is where it's being, used right now. But that, again, is just a tool that you have at your disposal. And, you know, we're building it out for your assessments as well. So, and then lastly, our third tool here is our GreenStar Home Certification Workbook. And this, again, is another optional resource for you that you can use. If you have a better checklist that you've designed and you like, just go for it. You know, we don't need this. This is just designed because it's got all the items we need to see for certification. And the first thing that you need to know if you're going to use this is that you need to go up to File and you need to go make a copy. But before you can do that, you have to be logged into Google. It's one of the downsides. So if you're not logged into Google, you either have to create a Google account or you have to wait until we can design this in some other form besides Google, because that's just the way it is right now. So we had some students at a university put this together for us, and it's been working well. But if you're not a Google fan, unfortunately, it won't be easy to use for you. But that's why we don't make it mandatory. So make a copy, create your own, and share it with me. Invite me into it if you'd like. That way I can see it. But here's some of the best ways to use this resource. First and foremost, what we have here down in column H is all the items that need to be done to meet certification. And then once you've completed those and you feel confident about those, you have all the items to meet silver, right? And then you have all the items to meet gold. And then you have all the items to meet platinum. And then there's just additional items here that are for badges or just good green ideas that we're building out too. So right now you should know that this thing has only been designed up through silver, and we haven't designed it yet for gold or platinum. So it'll be built out, it'll be fixed here, it'll be updated. But right now it's just certified in silver and it's under the old version for gold and platinum. It still works. It's still going to be pretty close. But just so you know, if you're looking at doing a gold project, let me know right away. We'll work with you. But obviously you want to get through certified in silver first to do that. So this has each of the requirements, and it has the ability for you to come through here and just say, yep, we've looked at our flood and climate risk. And what is a home energy rating? I don't know. I need to go get more education on that. And yep, we've assessed moisture and wall leak repair. Basically, that's how this tool works. And so once these features are all selected, yes, and I'm just going to do this for now. If you head over to the details tab here, you should see that. Interesting. Well, this is supposed to be certified, so I need to fix that. So like I said, we did this session here caught off guard when someone else canceled, so I didn't quite catch that one. But eventually this will say certified once those are all marked yes. Anyway, that surprised me a little bit that didn't work. But anyway, whether that says yes or not, it doesn't matter. What I'll be looking for if you submit this to me is that all these items here under certified are marked yes, and then we can move forward. Now, if you're doing a pre-construction plan review with us, the best thing for you to do is go through this yourself, line by line, marking yes, no, maybe. And then when you hit something that you don't think makes sense for your project, this is a great time to put in what we call waiver. So a lot of times we'll see like all electric projects putting in the word waiver for no gas inspections and combustion analyzation because they're like, we don't have any of that stuff. Well, that's why I have a special note for you here. Enter yes if all electric, right? So by default, you meet this because you're all electric, for example. You don't need to worry about it. Or you have sealed combustion. You don't need to worry about it. But this is how you would use this tool for a pre-construction plan review, either with myself or you doing it internally with your own team members and your hired rater as well. So that's one of the ways you're using this. And then the other thing is these notes here in column E. this is a great place if you have questions like, you know, what is a risk assessment? Or in this case, it has the information. You might say, what if I use, you know, XYZ resource? You know, is that okay instead of using the resource you have listed here, Brett? You know, so send me a link to that, send me a, you know, a Dropbox link to that, whatever. And then, you know, put waiver here, and then I'll check it and then respond back to it. And again, that's the best way to do that, is to have everything ready to go at the level you're trying to achieve. So put all your questions in here, mark your waivers down, and then where you have your yeses, that's a great time to put in proof of how you're going to meet that. So for the energy rating, you would have your energy modeler do an evaluation, and then you would come in here and say, you know, projected rating is home energy score or HERS index rating or whatever of 6, and here is a link. And so you put that link up on a file drive, you link it, whatever, you send me an email, I don't care, hey Brett, it's in the email, but just have, you know, that there, and then I can check that. And so that's, you know, a great way to do the preliminary review, either with me or your rater or whoever you're working with. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just fixing all this here, so it goes back to its original state. So that's a good way to do the construction plan reviews. Here's some basic information on how to document this stuff. And then this is a great opportunity if you've got a large team, especially if you're doing like a big multifamily project, to identify who's responsible. And so you can quickly say, you know, this is the designer, this is the rater, you know, this is the builder, whatever it might be. And then that way you can sort this by those individuals, and then you can zip it off to them in an email and say, hey, these are the things you need to do to achieve this. Can you make this happen? You know, boom, you can chop this up however you want, and do that. So that's just another resource we gave you to, you know, utilize this workbook, you know, if you'd like to help manage and navigate a project. A couple other things you should know is if you attempt to download this, that's okay, but it will bust a lot of the functions. So I would wait, you know, you certainly can download it and zip it off to folks. Like I said, that's the only way to break these things apart, but just know it will break some of the functionality. The functions of this only work in Google for the time being. So the other thing that's important to know is each of these links link out to more information on each one of these items. So obviously there's a lot of further things you need to know about each of these items that you wouldn't already know. And as you can tell, I have the links built all the way out through the certified level and not through silver yet, because I still need to finish building out the silver portion of the link. So that's where we're at right now for this program. So every time you click on one of these, it's going to bring you into one of the basic requirements. So again, first, we just want to make sure that you've considered potential risks, you and your clients, and it's been communicated to your homeowners or your tenants that there are risks living here. What are those risks? What is the flooding risk of the location? What is the risk of fire, the risk of storms, you know, climate change risks, and what will the risks be in the future? So we've got some great resources that we think work pretty well. You might have some better ones. Let me know. Let's drop in an alternative approach to it. The FEMA program obviously works really well, though it's kind of clunky. Flood factor works out well. And you should know that at higher levels of certification, we will ask you to address these risks. If you have a fire risk, how are you addressing the fire risk? If you've got a flood risk, how are you addressing the flood risk? And that will be different whether it's a new home or an existing home. So right now, we're just asking you to evaluate it and be informed. That's all we're asking for at the certified level. All right. So like I mentioned, every home needs to have a home energy score of 5 at the bare minimum. Now, there are some, if you're working with a Pearl contractor and they're doing a blower door and you can get it up to Pearl Gold, we'll allow that as another pathway. If you're doing new construction, then we're looking for, let me take that back. If you're doing new construction or an alternative to a home energy score or Pearl rating. So for example, we have people doing ASHRAE 90.1 assessments on some of our multifamily house buildings. That's fine. If that's the case, I should probably update this to say new construction or alternative rating tool. These are the energy usage you need to file. So either 34 MBTUs per year or 10,000 kilowatt hours or less of projected energy use, or a HERS index rating of 55. So we give you some different ways to achieve this, but we want to see every home at least here or less, especially for new construction, or the equivalent for the home energy score. And so the home energy score has equivalent energy uses for existing housing set up per airport across the country. And so if you're not going to use the score, we're going to have to, we have got some information here on how you find that local weather station data, and then correlate it with your local nearby airport. And that's energy use per year. So it sounds a little complicated, but I promise you it's just a quick chart to reference. That's if you're not hiring a home energy score or a Pearl assessor. If you are, then you don't have to worry about all that. Just get a 5 or get a gold and you're on your way. Again, here are some alternative pre-approved tools: Home Energy Saver Pro, Home Energy Score, HERS Index, WUFI, Passive House Planning Package, or BOPT. So you can use some of those to achieve different energy efficiency. And again, we have all sorts of things we're going to be building out here to help you. Heat pumps are really going to help drive that energy use down. Time and time again, if we switch from gas systems to heat pump systems all across, no matter what climate you're in, you're going to see better results. And so we wanted to be clear with you about that, because a lot of people ask us, how do we get there? And then we just need to see that there is a report verifying this energy rating, that it be done and that it's, verified at some capacity. And then ultimately, if you're trying to achieve our zero energy or zero energy ready badges, we've got some resources there on how to do that within this this energy credit. But we want to see every project here or here on new construction, like that is sort of the line that we draw, and we want to see all of our existing housing stock move towards that goal. What point is having an energy efficient home if it's rotting on you and causing your clients health issues from mold, right? This is more of some of these things are objective. The rating, very objective for the most part. This is very subjective to some extent. We rely on you and the home inspector and the rater to do the verification, probably using our GreenHome inspection tool, to make sure that there are no issues. So we have a whole list of issues and things that you should be reviewing and checking out to make sure don't have potential issues on them. And so there's a little bit of liability here that you have to take on and this is one of the cruxes of repairing existing homes versus building new homes, right? Like, at what point is this damage so bad that you have to tear it down? And so that's a question that we leave to you to decide with your team, but we just need to see that you've done your homework and your due diligence on it. For new construction, this might mean signing off on the Energy Star water management checklist, which is good enough for us in that case. So, make sure that these items are addressed and documented, and our GreenHome inspection checklist for existing housing and multifamily, again, sets it up very nicely to ask a lot of these questions. So for bath fans, we actually want to see them tested up to 50 CFM, but we know sometimes there are some issues there. So we are allowing the toilet paper test. That's where you put some toilet paper up, and if it holds, that's good enough for the certified level. So we are updating that. And then the 50 CFM is going to be moved to the silver level. But there's some other items here. So if you've got the bath fans running continuous, we can accept 20 CFM. But again, we're finding a lot of homes with poorly installed, poorly vented bath fans. So we need to make sure that they are holding and that they are properly ventilating out. And so, some alternative approaches, of course, you can use an energy recovery ventilator to do. That's not so hard, easy on an existing housing, but it could be done potentially. And so there's some resources on how and why this is important. And again, this just makes it easy for you, especially if you can upsize the unit. You can't always expect it to run at 50 CFM, even though the fan is designed for that. So you always want to make sure you put in a higher unit, and these folks have some different products that can make that real easy so that you're going to hit that target level, no problem. And then again, hopefully someone's in there doing the testing on it, and then we'll update this to just confirm again, the toilet paper test at the certified level when you don't have a rater, especially, that can come back and re-inspect the project. So as I mentioned, range hoods are very important. However, we will allow an alternative. So, we want to see the range hood at least be able to get up to 100 CFM, and that will need to be tested at the silver level. But you can also do electric or induction in lieu of the range hood at the certified level, because we know electric stoves are going to give off less pollution. And so we do have some teams we obviously suggest doing both a range hood that vents over 100 and electric. But again, we know budgets are tight, especially on these affordable housing projects that we do this. So you can pick one or the other. And then, of course, we've built out some other third opportunities here where you can use a reset certified device like our friends at Aware that will detect PM 2.5 and communicate that problem and VOCs and humidity and CO2 to the occupant, so that they can be aware that when they're using their stove, it could pollute their house. And so they need to be aware that they're being polluted and need to take some kind of action if they don't have the ability to run a range hood. So we have allowed that in conversation with our teams. I mean, I don't know how much, detail I can give you here other than, someone's going through with a gas sniffer, both on the inside and the outside, and they're making sure that there's no leaks. Again, if you go all electric, you can't have a gas leak when you're all electric. Problem solved. I mean, I don't know how many more times I can say that to people. Obviously, there's other issues you have to consider with all electric, but this won't be one of them. So that is one workaround. But it's important to do the gas leak tests, and we can't certify the project if we know that there are gas leaks present. Test for combustion. And so kind of the same deal here. By eliminating combustion, you won't have to test for it. And by sealing the combustion, and you don't have to test for it. But if I understand, again, on these low-level project, budgets are tight. So if you're going to have a naturally drafting water heater or furnace, then we just have to make sure that the formal combustion analyzation test is done by a certified BPA rater, and that there's not any spillage that's found, through that. And there was a question here. I do want to go back on the range one. So basically, range hood, you could also read that to say microwave. It doesn't have to be a formal range. It could just be a venting microwave as well. So anything that vents, right? If a microwave can do the job, then use a microwave, and that's a good 2-for-1 as well. I do know microwaves do get really loud though, but that's fine. Carbon monoxide, even in electric homes, make sure you've got carbon monoxide detectors installed. And if you've got fireplaces, we'll get to, you need a low level CO detector near that if the fireplace isn't properly vented. Radon. So preferably you want to install a radon system, but again, that can be costly. So in this case, you'll want to do a radon test. And if the test comes back at 4 or higher, then you can do another test. And if that comes back at 4 or higher, then you'll want to either install the radon system or a reset certified device that provides continuous radon monitoring with education of the owners or tenants or building managers about how and why you should take action should that continuous monitor show an increase. But again, we're just recommending putting in the system because radon shifts, and it's the second cause of lung cancer. But you know, we're not unlike other green programs. They really just look at EPA Zone 1. We're not. That's one thing we consider in new homes, because you can't test a new home, of course. But on existing homes, we don't care what zone you're in. You got to do that test because radon can be different everywhere. So MERV rated filter, use a MERV rated filter of at least 8. And then there's higher levels that you can get at higher, you know, capacities, depending on what certification you want to achieve. Obviously, mini splits can't have these higher ratings, so that's okay. HEPA rated filters may be allowed. And also just know that on older systems, if you chuck in a higher resistance filter, you may damage the system. So make sure your HVAC contractor or rater runs a static pressure test. And, you know, if you can show to us that the budget doesn't allow for a new system with a rating, a higher MERV, then, you know, let's have a conversation, because we don't want to blow the system out either. So certainly not. Obviously, we recommend replacing it at that point, but, you know, let's have a conversation. We haven't run into an issue yet where it would be a problem. For water flow, here's basically where we want you to be. So this is broken down for all certification levels. So you can kind of see where toilet water efficiency needs to be for silver, certified, gold, and platinum, where bathroom aerators need to be, and where shower heads need to be. And then what to do when you have dual flush toilets. And so again, we're looking at, you know, less than 1.6 for toilet, at least 2 or lower gallons per minute for bathroom, and at least 2.2 for shower. That's it for water conservation at the basic level. Now you might say, Brett, we've got a problem. You know, there's 1.6 toilets installed and I'm not changing them and it's not happening. Okay, that's fine. So that's where the alternative is to achieve, and I need to put this in here. I guess I forgot to put that in here, so I need to update that. But, you know, you need to achieve then a bare minimum of a home water score of 2. So you'll see that here in line item 12, 13, and 14. Basically, if you cannot meet one of these prescriptive, then we have our performance path where you need to achieve a home water score of 2. So if you head over to the home water score tab in the workbook, and this then would require you use the workbook or work with me to do it, you can see here that there's some numbers in here that are set up for you to zero it out. These are sort of what we assume is your bare minimum numbers. So this is where you can then say, okay, the project is doing, you know, they're not touching the toilets, fine, but they're going to get the shower head, you know, down to 1.5. They're going to get the bath aerators down to 2. We're going to get the kitchen down to 1. And notice the kitchen wasn't part of the prescriptive pathway, and neither was the clothes washer. You're going to use an energy efficient Energy Star clothes washer, and you're going to use an Energy Star dishwasher, and we're going to get rid of all the leaks in the house. And now, boom, you're at a 3.3 just doing that. You're in compliance. So you didn't need to change that toilet, right? So you can kind of mess with these numbers a little bit here. This is also a great way if you're going to get to our net zero water certification. And also the home does achieve a home water score certification badge, also along with GreenStar, if you use the home water score pathway. So we have a whole other webinar on home water score, so I'm not going to get too down the weeds in it here. You can check that out. I'll send you out a link. It's on our YouTube channel. But again, that's just a reminder that if you run into a barrier, that's okay. You can find water savings somewhere else. And that's kind of how you do it. Now I have to reset these, otherwise everyone's numbers are going to be thrown off. All right. Keeping on water here, and we want to make sure there's no leaks, so that's required, and that there's a good pressure test done so you're not over 80 psi. And so, we've got some details on how to do water leak. We have a water leak inspection report you can use, that the plumber can use, and then we have it set up in our inspection checklist for the rater to do that water leak inspection report. But we can't have water leaks in a house that are GreenStar certified. If you've got clothes washers on the first floor or near living space, steel braided hoses are super cheap, easy to do, or you can use a drain pan or some kind of drain approach as well. But that's in case a leak ends up springing. Kind of same deal here. If you've got tank water heaters in or above living spaces, just make sure that there's a drain pan or some kind of drain under them to avoid any kind of water issues or leaks. Gutters, pretty straightforward. Get gutters up, make sure they're functioning, make sure they're draining away from the site. Alternatively, you can have an engineer come out, or you can use a USDA map, and you can see if there's sandy, well draining soil, and maybe you don't need gutters in that case. But sometimes that can be expensive to do, and sometimes those, we just recommend getting the gutters up because that will, help with potential water, especially when there's basements. If there's not a basement, it's in a slab, then this isn't an issue. And I think I need to update that in the alternative, is we've got to put the slab in there. So for lead, we try to keep this as open-ended as possible because we know everybody approaches lead in very different ways. There's different ways townships approach lead, different legal ordinances by state. So we don't want to pigeonhole you into one way or another. So we're going to be building this out. We've got a disclosure here that you can snag if you want it. And you can use that disclosure that we've been using with one of our core teams who's flipping lots of older homes in Grand Rapids. But one way or another, we need to be able to see that some thought was put into this. And again, we're not walking away with, lead risks in these homes. So, and again, same with asbestos, kind of a subjective matter here on how you deal with it, but was it found and how is it being dealt with, and what strategies being used to make sure that if it is still left there, that it's not exposed or being, moved, and somebody could, potentially take it in. Knob and tube wiring. So, just make sure that that is all torn out and replaced. That's a huge fire hazard. So just make sure that gets done and that that's not left over. And again, remember, these cannot happen on new construction, right? These aren't problems. So that's easy enough for when you're going through the workbook to just go in here and, if like I said, with lead, you just say yes, and you just type a note here that says, this is new construction, Brett, it can't be a problem. So don't make a big fuss out of it. Obviously it's not a problem because it can't exist. And then, pretty easy this day and age, but just make sure like all the high use areas are LED and CFL, and get rid of the incandescent lighting. Just get rid of it. So that's it. I mean, the rest of this is all silver items, and then we're going to be building out gold and then platinum and then additional green feature strategies. So I'm not going to get into those today. The cool thing here is that you can print all this information out at your leisure and take it. So if you're trying to put together a scope of work for whoever it may be, you can print this out. And so what we're trying to do, like I said, is pre-assign these into areas we think is accurate, but for your project, it may not be. So this may be, this is what we would call some things that are relevant to the HVAC contractor, right? And so this is a great opportunity. You can open all these up or open all the ones you want. You can click Control P, you can print it to a PDF, download it and put it into your work scope and your specifications and your plans and just zip it off that way. And, we hope that you'll, be able to, use it at that capacity. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap us up here and then jump into questions, and I'm going to stick around to answer any specific questions. But before we head out, again, thanks for joining us, and make sure to take, those of you watching this, not right now, but in the future, take that quiz with an 80% passing rate and you'll get your CEUs. For those of you watching this right now, check your spam at certs@gutenbergcerts.com over the next couple days here, and you will mark that as safe and you'll get your CEU certificate for attending. And as always, a huge thanks to our board of directors, all of our volunteer speakers, our executive director, Jose Reina, and all of our top tier sponsors who are helping you meet and beat GreenStar, Mitsubishi Electric, Rheem, April Air, Build Equinox, to name a few. Huge thanks to them, and everyone who allows us to do what we do. So I'm going to take a look at some questions, but again, if you need to head out and you've been here for the full hour or at least 50 minutes, you're approved to go for your CEU. So you can head out and then we can catch up later if you've got a project coming up and we can set up a call to go over it. But otherwise, let me take a look here at the chat. I think I saw some questions come in, and then also the Q&A. Yeah, so the costs for the projects, and again, for those of you watching this in the future, these costs can shift and change, so we'll update you. But as of right now, for GreenHome Institute members, certification is free on small single-family projects, small apartments. And then on larger multifamily housing, we're typically around $2,000 for certification. And that's just flat certification costs. And then that's, we don't have an official registration requirement. What we have is an opportunity, something called a pre-construction plan review or preliminary rating. And that's an opportunity for you to register your project at the same time, which isn't required, and to retain us to do a full vetted review of the plans, the energy modeling, the scope of work, the specifications, and then just say, hey, yep, you're on track to meet GreenStar Gold, but hey, I see a couple issues here. Can you fix these? Let's have a conversation about that. So that is $500 for GreenHome Institute members, $1,000 for non-members. And again, that's optional. You might work with your GreenStar home inspector or assessor or consultant or certified green home professional instead of us. That's the goal. Like, we have you all become the professionals and people work with you instead of us. But in the meantime, as we get up and going, we'll be working on that. So that's what we offer for GreenStar. And again, that's just to make sure everything is headed in the right direction. Now, ultimately, especially for those of you who are members of ours, that we're gonna have conversations about your project, because you're helping us make the program better by asking us questions. So there is value to you, working with us to ask these questions, because we learned something new on how to make the program better. So there is sort of that gray area between where we're helping just review some items for you and then where we're doing like a full-blown plan review to make sure you're on track before you start your project. But that's when the costs, start to kick in. And the costs do not have anything to do with levels or badges. So not at this point, from our perspective. So There's a question here on what reset certified is. So, again, if you go through our building training, our basics course, and if you go and read the manual, you will be able to link it back to anything that we're asking you to do. It should link back to something. It may not, and if it doesn't, let me know. But basically, the industry, there's a plethora of air quality devices that are coming on the industry, and I think that it's important to make sure that we're careful on what we recommend with air quality devices. And so I think there's an ASTM standard now that we might also include that I need to learn more about. But I know reset certification, you can think of reset certification kind of like LEED in some ways, where they certify whole buildings, which is pretty cool for air quality. But unlike LEED, I guess, they maybe more like Passive House or Energy Star, they also certify products to ensure that they meet these air quality standards. And so we're basically saying, if you're going to be using those devices, make sure that the device itself is certified so that it can, so we can ensure that it, is meeting that standard. So, all right, well, I don't see any other questions. So, I encourage you to take our manual, take our checklist, take our inspection process, and just evaluate your own home, evaluate projects, if you're in government, or if you're in a bank and you're helping people with ESG funds, and you're looking at investors who are trying to make sure that their portfolio of buildings are green for their investors. Wherever it may be, you're a code official and you want to change your code, like just take this and run with it and reach back out to me, and let's have a conversation about how you can actually implement it and use it. And so that way we can get you certified, and it's verified that you're on track to achieving your goals. So thank you all for joining us. Thanks to our members who are on here. I see some of you, and for your support. And we will have the session that was supposed to occur again on March 9th. So please join us for that. Take care and be well, everyone. Thank you.
Be sure to check out all of our courses available online that you can watch anytime and anywhere to pick up your CEUs. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube to get weekly updates and stay up to date on green building science courses, webinars, and home tours. Thanks again.